We heard our mate Brian say a couple of months ago on Snake Bites TV, he's predicting these guys, the blue tongue lizard, to be the next big thing. One of the guys that's leading the way with these mutations, if not one of the best mutation breeders in the world with this animal, is Joe Ball. He lives an hour and a half, 2 hours up the road from us. We've jumped in the car, run on up to see what Joe's been up to over the past couple of years since we've been here and see where we're up to. This is going to be a treat for you guys overseas. This is like looking into the future. This is going to be good.
What I want to do today, guys, is have a bit of a mutations workshop, and I want to take you through all the projects that currently exist in Australia, from the base mutations right the way through to the double genetic stuff, and show you how we've gotten from A to B, and also what that result is at the end. So there's no what ifs here. There's a lot of stuff that really has come into fruition, so let's kick it off. Okay, so this first project was, it's actually very near and dear to me, was is an Albino Out Cross that I did, I think 7 or 8 years ago. And what I did was take the original Snake Ranch albinos and I paired them with a Kimberley Northern Blue Tongue, and that Kimberley Northern Blue Tongue happened to have, which I didn't know at the time, another recessive trait within it, which is this black-eyed anery trait here. The reason why I paired these in the first place was because of breeding vigour and size of litters and all the different colours that the Kimberley Blue Tongue shows. And within that there was a grey-white sort of animal, which always looked different, but I wasn't aware that it was actually a recessive mutation. So once I paired those, and so you've got your albino and your anery, you then get what is a wild type animal, which is essentially heterozygous for both traits. So this animal here is heterozygous for both albinism and anery. So then when you pair these animals, a whole host of things are going to happen. You're going to get your two recessive traits come out again, which is your albinism and your anery, but then you're going to have a 1 in 16 chance of producing something which expresses both traits. Okay, so as I was saying, when you pair the double heterozygous animals, you're then going to get within each litter both traits coming through. So you've got an albino, and then you've also got your black-eyed anery. Also within that, you're going to have some normals. So you can see the eye difference there between your black-eyed anery and the normal, and you can see that your normal here is devoid of all orange pigment, and then you can see in the albino that it's all void of black pigment. So in theory, when you get the animal that displays both traits, it's going to be devoid of orange pigment and black pigment. So I was fortunate enough to do that last year, and I've got an adult animal here. And there it is. That's your anery albino. That's an adult male, and that is essentially in blue tongues, into liquid skin coides. That's a world first, and he's going to be ready to breed in this coming season. Okay, so the next mutation I want to look at is what's referred to as either a hypo or a white northern. Now this is another recessive mutation, and this for me has endless possibilities, and the variation across it is literally unreal. When you look at it, you've got an almost leucistic individual, and then on your left you've got something that sort of fits more in the hypo class. So it's no wonder that over the years these have had a few different names, because descriptives sort of fail to cover them. So as you can see, the variation is huge. I'll just grab a couple of babies just to display that more. Okay, so there you go. You know, you've got this guy here that's got the sort of pinky orange hues through him that's going to end up pretty much white, and then you've got this guy here which has got very strong caramel banding that's probably going to take on the more silvery appearance of the other one that I just showed you. Okay, so in terms of progress in Australia with this particular mutation here, I want to take the opportunity to talk through a project that's actually been taken through to conclusion by Roger Kramer, and these in fact are Roger Kramer animals as well. So what Roger did some years ago, I think at a similar stage to myself, doing some outbreeding with albinos sort of 6 years ago, something like that, he paired your recessive white hypo with your hypermelanistic black bluey here, and again this took on a similar format in terms of genetic pathway. You ended up with what animals that look like this, which are your double hets, if you like. So they carry the white northern and the hypermelanistic gene, and so yeah, what then Roger did was paired these back together again, and then the result in those litters was that there's white babies and black babies, more of your wild types that carry both genes, and then also an animal which visually displays both traits. So I'm going to get that fella out now just to show you what it is, and it's pretty stunning. So, and here it is. It actually did land in between the two animals, and it was aptly christened a platinum. So you've got your white gene here, which seems to fade out all pigment and melanin over the course of time, and you've got this hypermelanistic animal on the other end, which seems to strengthen all pigments and melanin, and it's as if you've got an animal in the middle that's fighting both traits. It's sort of, it's neither hypermelanistic or hypo, but yet at the same stage, at the same time, it's both. And it sort of lands in the middle, giving you this sort of, and the camera can't capture it, it's sort of a really, and this animal is just coming up to a sloth, but it's just an amazing silver animal, and I think named Platinum was a perfect job. So well done Roger on those. One of my favourite things with blue tongues and keeping blue tongues is just how much a gravid female glows, if you like. And what we've got here is a gravid black blue tongue, and as you can see, her breathing's very laboured. And what happens is when the babies, when a blue is gravid, the babies are in here, and as they grow, they push up the body and they reduce the lung capacity and push the lungs further up into the chest, which you can visibly see by her laboured breathing. And what this lady is going to deliver in the next couple of days are black blueies that a portion of will also be het for albino. So again, stuff that isn't available anywhere else and hasn't actually been done anywhere else. So leading edge black blueies. Okay guys, so the next project, this is my absolute favourite, and this is what I suppose I've invested the most emotional energy in and time and effort, and it was something that I purposefully set out to achieve, and it's something that there was a few others that were trying to achieve it at the same time, and the reason why there was sort of a bit of interest into where this project would lead is because these two mutations, which is albinism and hypermelanism, popped up at pretty much the same time, and anybody that knows Australian captive reptile history knows that that these two mutations were found in essence by the guys at Snake Ranch and some of their cohorts. So your Peter Harlow with this fella, and these albinos were found at Newcastle, but ultimately all ended up in the hands of John Weigel and at Snake Ranch, and were replicated by those guys. Everybody was pretty keen to see what the result would be when pairing your albino to your black bluey, and I was fortunate enough to be the first guy to do that. I did try for a couple of years and failed. You'd got albinos with decreased libido in the males, and you'd got hypermelanistic animals that were high in female numbers and low in male numbers, and the pairing just seemed to present a lot of problems. So I finally managed to get hold of a real, if you like, toey male that took a shine to one of my albino females, and managed to get them to mate. And this was the end result, which was your double het animals, which, as we've shown before, carry both traits, so your albinism and your hypermelanism. And a little note on these is, as we go through this, is that the hypermelanism actually sort of takes on a codom nature, in the sense that a single copy of the black gene does, in quite a few of the single copy animals, display itself when compared to a normal animal. Okay, so once these double heterozygous animals were produced, it's then a case of going through the whole process again, getting these animals up to size, and pairing them back to one another, and then hopefully produce that 1 in 16 animal, which displayed both traits in the homozygous sense. So when that was done in the litter, there's 9 possibilities. So you've got a normal animal, you've got a het albino, you've got a het black, you've got a double het, which is obviously het for black and albino, you've got a normal albino, you've got an albino that's het black, you've got a normal black, and you've got a black that's het albino, and then your 9th animal, which is your 1 in 16, is your double homozygous hypermelanistic albino. So that was the goal, and I was fortunate enough to nail that, and here is what it looked like. So as a baby, it comes out like that. So you've got your albinism effect, which is basically pulled out the black that's present in this animal, but what lies beneath is actually the orange, which is evident underneath the black. So that's basically what it did. It pulled out the black, but at the same time displayed what this animal displays underneath. And that was what I thought. I thought it was going to be orange, but I thought it'd be a lot more orange than that. I was shocked that you'd got sort of this, almost, if you like, dare I say it, sort of an orange pied look to the baby. Not that it is that, but that was just the appearance, so to speak. And I thought, geez, that wasn't quite what I expected. But over time, quite a transformation happened with this animal. And I was actually fortunate enough to produce this animal last year, and this is a baby from this year. I've got what that animal matured into, which is this animal here. As you can see, over time the hypermelanism has really taken effect, but because it's an albino it can't produce black. The hypermelanism only applies to the other pigments that were present underneath the black, which in this case is orange, and it really is orange. It takes on the appearance almost of a koi carp goldfish. Customary with a double expression animal in the reptile game is to name it based on its appearance. In this case, this has taken on, as you can see, a fire orange appearance, and I decided to run with what is a lava blue tongue, because for me that just looks like molten lava. It just takes my breath away every time I see it. What do you think, Troy, when you look at that and you look at the baby, when you compare it to sort of some other mutations that you've seen before, and how they sort of jump out and look at you?
Well, I said it in the Wayne Larks episode when we were having a look at the moon glows. They were next level animals. I'm pretty sure you've done the same thing here with blue tongues, mate. These things are just next level. Absolutely blown away. Cannot wait to see what's going to come with future breeding projects out of these things.
Yeah, and that is a great question, and that's sort of how I'm thinking now. It's what can we do with this animal now? What other recessives out there can we pair it with to go on and make triple heterozygous, and then the results of triple homozygous, what they're going to look like, and also is it going to open the door for some things that we don't expect, you know, like chimeras and all sorts of different things from animals that basically can throw a sweet shop basically in each litter. Okay, so another new mutation that I'm playing with is this here, which is a suspected T+ project. A few people have thrown the name T+ at it already. The jury's still out, but at the end of the day, again, it looks like another mutation. I've got some het animals on the ground, and I'm hoping to have replicated this year. I'm not having that much luck with it, but what I have had some luck with is outbreeding it to the recessive white northern. So what I believe I've made is some double hets, so that we're going to get a double expression T+ or whatever the trait proves out to be of those two. So that's another future project to look out for. And then on top of that, we've already looked at these guys. I want to subject you to them again. I'm sure you don't mind looking at them. These guys also represent the future of what's going to happen in Teliquiscincoides. You know, these guys, as they display both genes, the possibilities of putting these over things such as this unproven mutation, and the other mutations that exist out there to make triple, maybe quadruple hets, and show animals that really can be next level, and as they'd say in America, offering some really awesome paint jobs. Now, every now and again you see an animal and you think, oh, that could have something, you know, I would love to work with that to see if, to try and prove it out, to see if there's something in it. But then also every now and again you see an animal where you look at it and you go, that almost doesn't even need proving out, because that is fucking sensational. Like, that to me screams a genetic mutation.